Not that I was complaining. "Everybody make it home okay?" "Yeah, we're intact," I answered. "Have you seen River?" I turned toward her voice and was immediately met with 100 pounds of perfection. She swore it was more. I never believed her. Avery jumped and I easily caught her. Her arms wrapped around my neck, one of them cradling the back of my head in that way of hers that always fucking melted me. "You're okay," she whispered in my neck. Even in the bar, she smelled fantastic, all apples and warm cinnamon. "I'm okay, Avery," I promised, my hands splaying on her back. "Everyone is." She nodded but didn't say anything, just held me a little tighter. I'd come home from countless fires in the years that she'd been my best friend, and this was always how she welcomed me home. There was nothing better on the planet. I stood there in the middle of the bar, letting her hold me as long as she needed, mostly because I could never get enough of her in my arms. Avery Claire had been my best friend since I was 18. I'd also been silently in love with her for just as long. Maybe one day she'd be ready to hear it, but I knew that today was not that day. Hell, the next year didn't look promising either. Taking in one more deep breath, Avery slid from my grasp, backing up a couple feet once her toes hit the wooden floor of the bar. Then she looked me over, inspecting for anything that might slightly resemble an injury. She tucked her long blonde hair behind her ears and nodded, appeased. Avery was fair everywhere I was dark, her skin pale where mine was deeply tanned by the sun and my mother's Cheyenne heritage. She was tiny where I was broad, curved where I was straight, and those shorts she wore didn't disguise much of her toned legs. "See, I'm fine," I said with a little grin. "Promise?" she asked, narrowing those gorgeous blue eyes. "I smell like smoke and I'm fucking exhausted, but other than that, I'm in one piece. I'm actually headed home, but I figured you were working tonight and that I'd kick your ass if you didn't tell me you were home." I could always text. "Not the same." Her smile grew until she could have lit the world with how bright it was. "I'm glad you're home." "Me too. Did Zeus miss me?" "Your husky is the neediest, wimpiest dog I've ever met, but yes, he's content and full of treats at your house." "He's a big baby," I admitted. "Just like his owner," she teased. "Avery, were you thinking about getting back to work?" Megan asked from behind the bar in her pack-a-day rasp. She was ageless, frozen somewhere in her 50s. The woman hadn't changed since I got here 7 years ago. "Yeah," Avery called out. "Sorry, I have to go." "I know. Don't worry. I'll see you tomorrow." "Riv!" Adeline came running at me, a tangle of hair and knobby knees. I caught her easily and squeezed her tight. "Hey, Addie, what are you doing here?" She pulled back and glanced at Avery. "I was supposed to stay with Stella, but she had to go out of town with her parents." I nodded and looked over to Avery, who was biting her lip. I knew she hated when she had to bring Addie in. She was only 13, but not nearly as much as she hated leaving her home alone with their father. "Why don't you come spend the night in my guest room?" I asked. Her eyes flew wide with excitement. "Can I watch Game of Thrones?" "Nope," I answered, "but I think I have every episode of Arrow." "Okay, I can rock that. Stephen Amell is hot." "If you say so," I said, grinning at her. Addie never failed to bring a smile to my face. "Are you sure you don't mind?" Avery asked, her hands wringing. I wanted to cup her face, brush my thumbs across her cheekbones, and lay a soft kiss to her lips. Instead, I squeezed her hand. "It's no problem. Why don't you come over when you're done? Bunk with Adeline and we'll go for breakfast in the morning?" She nodded with a grin. "Yes, I close out at 2 and then I'll head over." I would have said anything to see Avery smile like that, carefree and happy. She was always beautiful, but that smile shot her straight to gorgeous, and I never saw enough of it. "You have a key, so just come on in. Addie, you ready?" "Yes!" I laughed at her excitement. "Okay, but don't get too excited. Zeus might want to share your bed, and he's a hog." "True, but he's nice and warm." "That he is," I admitted before turning back to her big sister. "See you in the morning?" She nodded and leaned up on tiptoes to hug me. It was the only way to cross the difference between my 6'5" frame and her 5'6". "Thank you for taking her," she said, holding me tight. "I couldn't leave her there on her own. He gets so..."